Good morning. I was sitting there and I got so lost in the music, I forgot that it was my turn when the music stopped. I'd like to welcome you all to Hope Unitarian Church. It's wonderful to see everyone today. I'm the Reverend Justin McCreary, and I'm excited you're here with us. If you're new to Unitarian Universalism, one of the things I always like to say is that we're covenantal, not creedal, which means we focus less on what we believe and more on what it means to be together as a community. Love is the power that binds us together and is at the center of our shared values. Being rooted in love, we believe that all human beings should be treated with dignity and respect. At Hope, we seek to transform ourselves and the world through community, service, and love. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, in whatever your life circumstances, you are welcome here. At this time, I invite you to rise, embody your spirit as you feel called to sing our hymn of gathering. We are here together in this holy moment, and we're grateful for the winding road that brought us to this place. And we're grateful for the winding road that brought us to this place. It is our tradition to begin each service with the lighting of the chalice, and as we light the chalice, we say these words. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together. Thank you. You may be seated. This morning's invocation is by Reverend Dr. Rebecca Savage. Rejoice, rejoice with full hearts, beloved people of blessing, rejoice. May this time of worship celebrate what we know at our core. Blessings are real and ours to claim and blessings are real and ours to claim and radiate. Blessings are abundant and ours to reveal and pass along. Blessings are transformational and ours to be challenged by as we grow towards the faith we know that we can be. Rejoice. At this time, I would invite you to say our covenant with me together. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. And at this time, I would invite you again to rise and embody your spirit as you feel called, and we sing our hymn, our first hymn, number 360, Here We Have Gathered.
Find our quiet.
You may be seated. And David, if it's all right, I'm going to kick off announcements. I knew it would be all right. We're coming to a very difficult part in our community in the United States of America, where we're sitting into over 30 days of a government shutdown. I was asked, what can the church do to help? So this is what we've decided to do for anybody who might be losing benefits. Or this is what we're trying to do to embrace the situation, I should say. I should have prepared something, but I've been setting up canned goods all morning. We're going to take up a collection of shelf-stable items. You're going to say, what are we going to do with those shelf-stable items? I don't know yet. Here's the deal. If someone knocks on my door and says, we need help, I want to be able to help. If after this time is over, we decide that we do not need these shelf-stable items, we can donate them anywhere we like. But in my opinion, it's better to have them and be prepared than not be prepared. So we will be collecting shelf-stable items for people affected by the shutdown. And that is not just SNAP benefits. That involves people who are not receiving paychecks. That involves much of our community in the world or in the country who are government employees. So we will be collecting, as it said in the highlights, turn the minister's office into a food pantry. And that is happening. And if you know anybody who needs our help, direct them to us. We may be able to help, depending on the situation, depending on what we have available at the time. So let us know what is needed, and let's see what we can do to rise and meet this situation.
Amen.
And if any of you are struggling emotionally, not necessarily with an empty pantry, but just concern for the community or just concerned about the emotional impact of you on this, please feel free to call the care team or call Reverend Justin and let's talk about it. Actually, my announcements are mostly what's not going on. Women of Hope is usually this Thursday, but the church is going to be otherwise engaged in something, which we'll talk about later. So there's no Women of Hope for November. Supper Club is usually the second Saturday of the month, but again, we'll be otherwise engaged, so no Supper Club this month. The Hope Happy Hour, which usually occurs on the fourth Thursday of the month, that's Thanksgiving Day, so we won't be having Hope Happy Hour this month. But we are having something. But before we get to that, I want to mention that a longtime member, Norma Eagleton, has a memorial service set for this Friday at 2 o'clock at the Jewish Federation of Tulsa. That's near 71st and Wheeling or Utica. There's a whole big campus over there. So it's
encouraged to arrive early.
Yeah, the parking could be an issue, and
Parking will be across the street and we shuttle road.
And the venue is going to be full. It was Norma's idea to have it there, but it's going to be full. So do arrive early. That's Friday, 2 o'clock, Jewish Federation of Tulsa. There's a Guns to Gardens Tools initiative. They're going to exchange firearms on November 8th. And they're going to take the guns, they'll give you gift cards, and they'll turn the guns into garden tools. Just melt them down and turn them into something useful. So keep an ear out for that, and there's more information in the highlights about that initiative.
$100, rifles are $200.
Awesome idea. And I believe there's something else going on. If someone would like to come forward and tell us about the Hope Auction.
Yes. If it's the Sunday before the annual Hope Auction, expect the announcements to go very, very long. So I think most of you know that this Saturday at 5 o'clock, we're going to do our annual auction, which is a big fundraiser, maybe the biggest fundraiser. Not maybe, it is the biggest fundraiser we'll have all year. And we're going to have some food provided by our friend. If I say your name, give me a woo. Our friend Jeff Dossett over here. Woo. No, I mean, if I say your name. You people cannot follow directions. So Jeff Dossett will be providing us some food. We're going to have some music by Christy. And Sam Briggs, who some of you may remember, he sang some show tunes with us one time, I believe, or at least one time. And then we're going to have some online auction items, and you can start bidding on them as soon as you leave here. You can also, if you don't have your ticket, see who doesn't have their ticket yet. And most of you in here right now have a ticket, I think. So, woo! Yeah, I said most of you. That means you all say woo. You can buy a ticket out here. Rebecca will be at a table. Now we're going to have some great auctions on the online auction. You just do this online. And you can see up here, we've got Elizabeth. We chose this photo. Say woo, Elizabeth Obel. Elizabeth is going to teach you something. She can teach you to play the violin all in 1 hour or something like that. She can show you a little bit about knitting or crochet or what is it you do with wool?
Spinning.
Spin yarn. But we put this photo on here because we think it's adorable.
It's cute.
We also, you can spend an evening with the Spirit with Jackie. You see her photo there. Ooh, that was a good one. Jackie understands. She has the ability to interact with the Spirit. Spirits, yeah. And you can have up to 5 people have a private session with her, and you can communicate with a spirit, hopefully.
Dead people.
Yeah.
Well, I also can feel vibes off of living people, too.
Yeah, so don't make eye contact with her.
I would never read you that.
Next slide, please. Oh, no, Rebecca. We're not supposed to have Maggie's crumpets in a slide. Those crumpets are mine. Nobody can outbid me. Next slide. Dominoes. We've got some, as you know, our friend Warren. Say woo, Warren. Woo. Yeah. He likes to play with his 3D printer, and he's made some dominoes. They'll be at the silent auction in person on Saturday. And Warren claims that he's 91 years old. I don't believe that. So there's that. And then next slide, please. We have some, I'm afraid you've lost control. We have some sign-up parties. These are things where you have to show up Saturday, and you can sign up for one of the slots at these parties. The first thing you want to do is you can go to Carol Young's. Okay, you get it too. You can go to her hootenanny party. This means that, Anita, you need to get your Grateful Dead t-shirt ready to go. So those of you who like to play some 60s music, sing along, have some pizza, that sort of thing. The other thing is Robert Billings, our friend here at Hope, his daughter owns some restaurants. One of them is Elote, and she has changed part of the restaurant into karaoke rooms, and you can go in there and sing karaoke. I've done it. It is a lot of fun. Next slide, please.
I want that one.
Yeah, I want this one too.
It's
I didn't say your name yet. Oh.
It's not the whole lobster like the picture shows. It's lobster tails.
Okay, that's kind of what I assumed. So Janet, who already said woo and ruined everything, she's going to host a lobster dinner, I assume with your husband, Robert.
I hope so.
And hopefully with your mother, Alice, who claims to be even older.
Ask 'em.
Yeah. And hopefully with your mother, Alice, who claims to be older than Warren. And I don't believe that either. And so also, you probably, thinking, I would really like to know what's going on at the church and, be a big shot and be seen in public with the past president, current president, and future president of our Hope Board of Trustees. So you can eat with Jeff Dossett, David Tracy, and is Vanessa in here? No, she's probably busy with kids or something. Anyway, you can eat dinner with them at the Brooks South. I think, are those all our slides? I think so. So just try to outbid me on the crumpets. Thank you very much.
Buy your tickets. If
Buy
you
your
haven't
tickets
already.
after the service.
Good morning, everyone. Today, we're going to talk about gratitude. How many of you need to focus more on gratitude than everything else that's going on in the world? Gratitude has a way of connecting us across generations, across experiences, and across time. It reminds us that even in life's busiest, hardest, or quietest moments, there's always something good to notice, something kind to share, and something worth holding close. Let's explore this story together. We'll discover that gratitude isn't just a feeling, it's a superpower that strengthens us and helps us see the world through the eyes of hope. Gratitude is My Superpower by Alicia Ortega. Every day I'm grateful for so many things, for the sun that warms and the birds that sings. I'm grateful for my family and friends, for the books I write, and for my pens. I'm grateful for the raindrops and the beautiful rainbow, for the trees and flowers, and for the first snow. I'm grateful to my little readers and their parents too. That's why I dedicated this book to you. Hi, my name is Betsy, and this is Mr. T. I'm only 7, but he's 70. You wouldn't know to look at him. He never seems to age. He slowly moves around the house and doesn't have a cage. One day when I was playing with him, I suddenly felt quite sad. "What's the matter?" Mom said. "You're usually so glad." "It's Mr. T," I said to her. "I think there's something wrong. To carry that big house all day, he has to be so strong. Do you think it stops him from having fun like me? I've never seen him run or jump as happy as can be." "Oh, my dear, you mustn't worry. Mr. T is fine. Turtles have different needs in life. They're not like yours or mine. The nature of a turtle is harmless, quiet, and shy. They love to hide inside their shells when people pass them by. So Mr. T is very grateful for everything he's got, which means he doesn't worry about the things he has not. Let's play a game together," Mom said. "I'll call it gratitude. It'll help you understand Mr. T, and Are you in the mood? Mom takes me to the garden and just behind the flowers. Picking up a stone, she says, "This has superpowers." Every time you're upset when things don't go as planned, you take out your gratitude stone and hold it in your hand. The stone will work its magic, and soon you'll begin to see everything that's happening is how it's meant to be. No sooner had we gone inside, the sky began to rain. Tears began to fill my eyes. I wanted to go out again. Remembering my special stone, I squeezed with all my might. What could I be grateful for when rain was in my sight? But just then I remembered without it, plants won't grow. Fish wouldn't live in the sea and rivers wouldn't flow. Thank you, sky, for raining. You're really rather clever. Now I know the job you do, you can rain whenever. Next morning, when it's time to wake, my body's filled with dread. Going to school is the last thing I want. I'd rather stay home instead. Beneath my pillow is my stone. I squeeze it once again, remembering the friends I see and my teacher, Mrs. Blaine. At school, I had forgotten today was sibling day. I don't have any siblings, so I didn't know what to say. My stone will have the answer, I thought. I'll squeeze it and we'll see. Of course, I said, I'm grateful because I have Mr. T. At dinner time did work again. When Mom put down my plate, no yummy cake, but rice and veg, which I didn't appreciate. Yes. But then I remembered the children who aren't as lucky as me to have a healthy, warm meal cooked by their mommy. At bedtime, when I'm not tired and want to play instead, I'm grateful for my turtle pajamas and warm and cozy bed. But just then I remember I'm not even carrying the stone. Mom, I shout, I did gratitude, and I did it on my own. Of course you did, my darling, because gratitude is in there. Upon my heart, she places her hand. With the other, she strokes my hair. So gratitude is in all of us, I said. And all we have to do is stop and think how thankful we are instead of feeling blue. Next day during playtime, there's a new boy there with shiny braces on his teeth and curly light brown hair. Tears are falling down his face. He wished he had not moved, a decision made by his parents, and he had not approved. I tell him of the gratitude stone and ask if we can find something to be thankful for that he can bear in mind. He holds the stone and thinks a minute, a smile across his face. I'm thankful for our new home. The garden has so much space. Now, every time I go out, I make sure to have with me at least one stone to pass on along with my story. So today, I'm going to pass on the stone to Reverend Justin.
The stone says hope. So I'm grateful to be at Hope Unitarian Church for a bunch of reasons. I couldn't get into all of them, but the one that strikes me immediately is that we put out a call in highlights to start collecting food, and I came into the office Friday morning and I already had to clear off shelves. I'm grateful for Hope Unitarian Church, and during this difficult time, I want us all to think about what it means to nurture gratitude. So let's take just a moment and think in our brains, what are we grateful for? I'm going to give you about 30 seconds. Maybe I might get impatient, but you're going to shout it out, but not yet. So I'm going to give you 15 to 30 seconds. So think about something you're grateful for.
Friends.
Well, I was going to say on the count of three, we all say them together. I got a dirty look from Anita. Usually the dirty look comes from the front row over here. So on the count of three, say the thing you're grateful for at the same time. 1, 2, 3. Sounds good. Let's sing the kids.
Our reading today is The Now of Pooh by Benjamin Hoff. In the morning sunshine, in the evening twilight, a small bear travels through a forest. Why did we follow him when we were much younger? He is, after all, only a bear of little brain. But is brain all that important? Is it really brain that takes us where we need to go? Or is it, all too often, brain that sends us off in the wrong direction, following the echo of the wind in the treetops, which we think is real, rather than listening to the voice within us that tells us which way to turn? A brain can do all kinds of things, but the things it can do are not the most important things. Abstract cleverness of mind only separates the thinker from the world of reality, and that world, the forest of real life, is a desperate condition now because of too many who think too much and care too little. In spite of what many minds have thought themselves into believing, that mistake cannot continue for much longer if everything is going to survive. The one chance we have to avoid certain disasters is to change our approach and to learn to value wisdom and contentment. These are things that can be searched for, anyway, through knowledge and cleverness, but they do not come from knowledge and cleverness. They never have, and they never will. We can no longer afford to look so desperately hard for something in the wrong way and in the wrong place. If knowledge and cleverness are allowed to go on wrecking things, they will before much longer destroy all life on earth as we know it. And what little may temporarily survive will not be worth looking at, even if it would somehow be possible for us to do so. The masters of life know the way, for they listen to the voice within them, the voice of wisdom and simplicity, the voice that reasons beyond cleverness and knows beyond knowledge. That voice is not just the power property of a few, but has been given to everyone. Those who pay attention to it are, too often, treated as exceptions to the rule rather than as examples of the rule in operation, a rule that can apply to anyone who makes use of it. Within each of us there is an owl, a rabbit, an Eeyore, and a Pooh. For too long, we have chosen the way of the owl and the rabbit. Now, like Eeyore, we complain about the results. But that accomplishes nothing. If we're smart, we will choose the way of Pooh. As if from far away, it calls us to the voice of a child's mind. It may be hard to hear at times, but it is important just the same, because without it, we will never find our way through the forest.
Tis a gift to be simple, tis a gift to be
You know when David Tracy has already done the announcements because the mic is so much higher than it usually is. So I wanted to take a minute and tell you about the process of becoming a UU minister. It's very long and not always direct. In fact, we have one of the most complicated processes of many of the religions, and it would make sense since we're a little more complicated than a lot of different religions.
Amen to that.
We're UUs. We highlight pluralism and covenant over doctrine and connection over belief. In fact, we're not Christian, even though we may use some of their bureaucratic processes that are simply Protestant. Because of this understanding, what Unitarian Universalism is can be more complicated than many other religions. So why wouldn't the process of becoming a minister be more complicated? The fact is, I started this process in 2014, and I hope to complete all the expectations of new ministers next year. But by far the hardest part of the process is the Ministerial Fellowship Committee, which I did quite a few years ago. I had the opportunity to sit down and have questions lobbed at me by 8 to 10 people. And there might have been more than that. I can't remember. It's a lot of my mind has blocked that out. When I did this, it took place in Boston. Now it happens over Zoom since COVID. But in preparation for the interview, we read books, try to fulfill standards, do ministry, and all kinds of stuff like that. Go to seminary. It's a big, long list. I remember getting on the plane to Boston. My carry-on was full of books, note cards, and a tablet that had many other books on it. I had been studying for weeks, but was prepared to continue studying the entire flight and every moment in my hotel until I sat for the interview. Then I noticed the movie Christopher Robin was playing in the airplane. If you don't know, Christopher Robin is a 2018 live-action movie starring Ewan McGregor, and McGregor plays an adult Christopher Robin who's forgotten his old friends, Pooh, Tigger, Piglet, and Eeyore. He had forgotten his time in the 100-acre woods and forgotten many of the most important things about life. See, Christopher went away, and at the end of the book, he goes away at the end of the book, Pooh Corner. In the movie, he goes on to boarding school, and he loses his father. Then he falls in love, has a child, goes to war, comes back to get a 9-to-5 that takes much longer than 9-to-5. See, Christopher Robin worked in the efficiency department of a luggage company. As Pooh would later say that he traded them all for a fish in the sea. Robin unknowingly had been surrounded by woozles and heffalumps. As I sat on the plane watching this movie, I remember Christopher Robin, midway through the movie, says, "Goodbye and good luck to Pooh," when he's just trying to pawn him off, get him back in the 100-acre woods so he can go back to work. And Pooh says, "I'm in need of much luck, for I am a bear of very little brain." At that moment, I decided that I would put away my books and my cards, and instead of cramming for an interview, commit to walking into this interview as what I was. I mean, it was good enough for Pooh. Why wouldn't it be good enough for me? So there I sat on a plane to Boston, crying through a movie, a minister of very little brain, committing to show them my heart. I would learn over time that I had been preparing for a confrontation with woozles and heffalumps. But that wasn't the truth. In reality, I was just sitting down with a lot of people like me, trying to do the best they can with what they have. And from the moment on, I realized I could just commit to being a minister of very little brain, and everything would be okay. Believe it or not, this movie was really my first interaction with Winnie the Pooh. There was a show when I was a kid, but I didn't watch it, and I never read the books. I just knew the movie, and after that moment, had never forgotten the line. I thought of that story one afternoon while David Tracy and I were having lunch to discuss this year's auction sermon. See, every year we host an annual auction. Someone might have said something about it earlier today. And one of the things I put up for bid is my sermon topic, within reason. I mean, they understand there are subjects that are off limits, and I have to agree with anything I say in the pulpit. I can't preach something I don't agree with. However, it's usually a pretty fun topic. I'm not sure how, but David and I got into a discussion of the book, The Tao of Pooh, by Benjamin Hoff, which led me to telling the prior story. And for some reason, we talked about Winnie the Pooh for about 15 minutes, and from that conversation decided who would be the topic of this sermon, specifically the Tao of Pooh. Now, when you purchase the auction, when you purchase the subject, I think we made Dave do everything. David had to do the reading. I think they made you pick out the music, didn't they? Yeah, they made him pick out the music at choir. So it's really a fun thing to do. So if you're thinking on bidding on something that's really interesting, I recommend that one. But like I said, we talked about the Tao of Pooh. The problem is, though I had the book, it was given to me by another minister, and it isn't a long book. I mean, as books go, so I thought I would tear through it really fast, but the problem was that I hadn't read the book. And I figured I would be able to get through this book really quick because it's a book about Winnie the Pooh. But the book had a certain density to it. I found myself struggling through the Tao of Pooh. You have to be in the right mindset to read something like that. And I hadn't been in the right mindset. Was struggling to be the minister of very little brain that would get a lot out of it. But then as time settled on and I kept moving, I came to understand that let's start at the beginning. In the beginning, Hoff talks about this painting. He talks about a painting called The Vinegar Tasters. The painting is of three men standing over a pot of vinegar, tasting it. The painting is intended not to just show vinegar tasters, though, but to explain the three major belief systems in China. The first taster, Kung Fu Tzu, we call Confucius. The second taster, Buddha. And the third is Lao Tzu, who wrote the Tao Te Ching. Kung Fu Tzu had a very sour look on his face, tasting the vinegar, because he viewed life as sour and needed many rules to keep people in line. He believed that we were out of step with heaven and more rules would put us in step. The second was Buddha, who had a bitter look on his face, because life was full of attachments which led to suffering and drove the life into being much considerable bitterness. But the final person, Lao Tzu, had a smile on his face, tasting bitterness or tasting vinegar. To them, heaven and earth had natural harmony, a reflection that was available to anyone at any time should they want to access it. Living harmoniously with heaven and earth is where one found joy. So when Lao Tzu tasted the vinegar, he smiled. And Hoff of the Tao of Pooh says this: to Lao Tzu, the world was not a setter of traps, but a teacher of valuable lessons. Its lessons needed to be learned, just as its laws needed to be followed. Then all would go well, rather than turn away from the world of dust. Lao Tzu advised others to join that world of dust. Because in tasting the vinegar, it had nothing to do with the bitterness or the sourness of the vinegar for Lao Tzu. When he tasted the vinegar, he experienced the vinegar. And for him, that was good, and that in itself was sweet. Hoff highlights this story from A. Milne. I believe this is from the house at Pooh Corner. One autumn morning, when the wind had blown all over the leaves, or all the leaves off the tree in the night, and was trying to blow the branches off, Pooh and Piglet were sitting in a thoughtful spot and wondering. What I think, said Pooh, is I think we go to Pooh Corner and see Eeyore, because perhaps his house has been blown down, and perhaps he'd like us to build it again. What I think, said Piglet, is I think we should go and see Christopher Robin, only he won't be there, so we can't. Let's go see everybody, said Pooh, because when you've been walking in the wind for miles and you suddenly go into somebody's house and he says, hello, Pooh, you're just in time for a little smackerel of something, and you are, then it's what I call a friendly day. See, Piglet thought that they ought to have a reason for going to see everybody, like looking for a small or organizing an expedition. If Pooh could think of just something, and Pooh could, he thought of the perfect thing, the perfect excuse for seeing their friends. We'll go because it's Thursday, he said. And we'll go to wish everybody a very happy Thursday. Come on, Piglet. You see here the debate between Piglet and Pooh has nothing to do with visiting friends. Not whether to visit friends, but whether they needed an excuse to visit friends. For a moment, they try to come up with different ideas. Then all of a sudden, Pooh comes to the point in the simplicity of being, saying that, Thursday is enough of an excuse. Let's go visit our friends and wish them a happy Thursday. For Hoff, Pooh represents Pooh. P-O-O-H represents P-U, and not the stinky kind. In the Taoist kind of way, Pooh translates basically into something like the uncarved block or a tree that has not yet been turned into lumber. Pooh is pure potential beyond distinctions like right and wrong, good and bad, or beautiful and ugly. It represents the state of being before life came in and got its grubby little hands on us. So for Hoff, Pooh is embodied by Pooh. When it comes to life goals, Pooh would say things like this. What I like best in the whole world is me and Piglet going to see you, and you saying, what about a little something? And me saying, well, I shouldn't mind a little something. Should you, Piglet? And it will be all a hummy sort of day outside and birds singing. See, being a bear of very little brain, as he says over and over again, is not an insult for Pooh. It's an embrace of simplicity and understanding that the world is here to be our teacher. And when I consider the three schools of thought that came out of China, I have to admit I struggle to resonate with the Tao Te Ching and Lao Tzu the most. I struggle to embrace the uncarved block. But what I knew flying to Boston so many years ago was that I was not going to impress them by pretending to be someone I wasn't. To be the best me I can be, I have to bring all of me. I have to accept that is all I have. To be the best me, sometimes I have to get out of my head and be the minister of very little brain. You may not know this, but most of my sermons have a second title that I don't tell you, because this is Reflections on Being a Bear of Very Little Brain, an auction sermon or something like that. But I really entitled it, How to Be a Minister of Very Little Brain. But most people chuckle too hard when they see that. Because I don't know if you're like me, always commenting up here. on what's going on, replaying the day's conversations, living with fear that the other shoe is always going to drop, even though the first shoe really hasn't yet. It isn't quiet in my head, if that makes any sense to you. There's a lot of judgment up there. There's a lot of fear and a lot of anger, and if I'm not careful, it doesn't leave much room for love. And I believe that the pure message of who Winnie the Pooh is a message that centers love in a world where it feels like every day something new is wrong. When Pooh was happy, he was happy. When he was sad, he was sad. He was always the thing he was, and that is something to be proud of. And if that is called being of little brain, sign me up. I get that life cannot always reflect a children's book. If you look at the reality between the relationship of A.A. Milne and the real Christopher Robin, it's not a fairy tale. It's not necessarily a great relationship. There was a lot of discord between father and son. But see, there's still something here for us. There's something that we can learn about being imperfect and still being able to create beauty, something about living in the moment and forgiveness, something about just being a world that tells, or something about just being in a world that tells us, just do it. So I don't know if in this world, we can always be Pooh. I just don't know if that's possible. But I do think Pooh can be a guide. I think in a world where we feel like we're always called to do something, that every now and again, that sometimes doing nothing leads to the greatest of something. Thank you. Our generosity recipient this month is the Oasis Ascension Project. What that means, if you're a visitor, is that our church gives away its plate in special donations to a different organization every month. And this month it is the Oasis Ascension Project, which helps to work and end homelessness in the city of Tulsa. To give to the Oasis Ascension Project, what you can do is write in the memo line of your check, generosity. And if you're putting cash in, don't worry, cash all goes to the generosity recipient. If you're paying your pledge or using cash to pay your pledge, then you would put all your cash in an envelope that is provided to pay your pledge. I did say that, didn't I? Yes. Sorry. Little brain up here. So at this time, I would invite you to give to help this world become a better place. At this time, our final hymn will be hymn number 186, Grieve Not Your Heart. And I invite you to rise and body your spirit as you feel called. At the end of each service, we extinguish our flame, saying this. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. I don't know if in this world we can always be a poo, but I think he can be a guide. I think in a world where we feel like we're always called to do something, that every now and again, that sometimes doing nothing leads to the greatest of something. Go in peace.